Your body is a panic machine. A snake in the grass and you freeze before you've even seen it. A drop below you and your stomach lurches back from the edge. The dark. A loud noise. A spider on the wall. Your brain is constantly scanning for things that could end you and slamming on the brakes before you can think. And then there's fire. Fire can burn you alive. It can take everything you own and turn it to ash in an hour. By every rule your body follows, it should be near the top of the danger list. You should flinch from it the way you flinch from a snake. But you don't. You do the opposite. You pull up a chair. You go quiet. And you stare into the one thing on earth that could reduce you to bone. And you feel calm. Why? Why is the single most destructive force your ancestors ever met also the one thing that makes you feel safe? That's a strange wire to have crossed in your head. And the answer goes back about 1,000,000 years, to the night everything changed for our species. Let's start with the part everyone gets wrong, the flames. We all assume it's the fire's dance that hooks us. The flicker, the light, the way it moves. That's the hypnosis, right? Well, researchers actually tested that. They sat people in front of a fire with no sound, just the visuals, and watched their bodies. And almost nothing happened. The light show alone did very little. We don't know exactly when. The oldest solid traces are around 1,000,000 years old, maybe older. And at first, they almost certainly couldn't make it. They found it, after lightning struck, and they carried it, and they guarded it like the most precious thing on earth. Because it was. The first one rebuilt your body from the inside. Because someone eventually put food in the flames. Cooked food gives up far more energy than raw, and it's far easier to chew and digest. There's a well-known idea from a Harvard scientist that this is part of how we got these enormous, hungry, expensive brains. The very brain you're using to follow this sentence. Raw food might never have paid for it. Now, not everyone agrees on the timing, and will never catch it on camera. But the direction is hard to argue with. The fire didn't just sit next to us while we evolved. It reached in and helped shape what we became. And then the fire did the strangest thing of all. The thing that might explain the staring better than anything else. It gave us back the night. As time. Before fire, when it got dark, your day was simply over. But a fire buys you hours. Hours where you're not hunting, not gathering, not running from anything. Just sitting. Together. In a warm ring of light, with nothing left to do. Watch what fire did the first night they kept one burning. The cold pulled back. And then the eyes in the dark pulled back too. Because there is almost no predator alive that will walk into fire. For the first time in the history of your bloodline, your ancestors drew a line on the ground, a ring of light, and stood inside it, and were safe. The night was still out there, but not in here. Sit with how enormous that was. After millions of years of losing people to the dark, suddenly there was a circle where the dark couldn't reach. And the crackle of that fire was the sound of that safety. As long as it was burning, you could hear it, you were protected. The people who were drawn to that sound, who felt their shoulders drop beside it, who tended it instead of wandering off, those were the ones who saw morning. The ones who didn't, we are not their descendants. That's the first thing the fire did. It kept us alive. But it wasn't finished with us. Because once you can sit beside a fire all night, two more things happen. And they go a lot deeper than safety. So what did we do with those hours? Anthropologists studied one of the last groups of people on Earth still living close to that old way. And they found something beautiful. In the daytime, people talked about ordinary things. Work. Food. Who was annoying. But at night, around the fire, the talk changed. It became stories. Myths. The dead. The far away. The imagined. By firelight, more than 8 out of 10 conversations turned into stories. The fire was where imagination was allowed to happen. One researcher called it the first internet, the first place humans gathered to share a world that wasn't physically in front of them. Now put it all together, and look at what the fire actually was to the creature you came from. It was the thing that pushed back the predators. It was the thing that fed you and grew your mind. And it was the thing you gathered around every single night in a circle of the people you trusted, while stories played out in the light. Safety, warmth, family, meaning. Every good thing in the ancient human world happened in the same place, at the fire. For 10,000 generations, that glow meant you had made it through another day. You were fed. You were surrounded by your people. You were, for a few hours, completely safe. That is the memory your body is reaching for when you go quiet at a campfire. You're not being hypnotized by a pretty light. Something far older than you is recognizing the sound and the warmth and the glow and exhaling. Because every cell of you that was shaped by the dark knows exactly what that fire used to mean. It meant, nothing is going to get you tonight. Now, I should be honest with you, the way we always are here. Is there some exact gene that makes you love fire? Nobody can prove that. Maybe it's deep instinct. Maybe it's just that a fire floods so many of your senses with the signals of safety at once that your body simply lets go. The flames don't come with a footnote. But whatever the precise reason, the pull is real, it is ancient, and it is pointed at the one force your ancestors feared most. So the next time you find yourself by a fire, gone silent, eyes lost in it, you don't have to wonder what's wrong with you. Nothing is. You're feeling the oldest relief your species has ever known. You're sitting in the circle of light, where the dark can't reach, where you're warm, where your people are, where the stories live. The fire got smaller. The fear it answered never left. And some part of you, every time, remembers the night we finally stopped being afraid.